I never thought I'd be the type of person who ends up posting my whole life story on the internet, but here I am. Sitting alone in my room, lights off, laptop glowing in the dark, wondering where everything went wrong. And honestly, I don't even know whether I'm looking for advice, validation, or just someone who doesn't automatically assume I'm the villain. Because for the past 2 years, that's exactly what I've been made to believe. That I'm the problem, I'm the disrespectful one, I'm the reason my family is falling apart. But deep down, I know the truth. I know what really happened. I know how a single person can walk into your home wearing a sweet smile, soft voice, perfect manners, and still manage to turn your entire life upside down. That person was my stepmom. Her name is Melissa. And this is the story of how she tried to replace my real mom, and how my entire family slowly turned against me. Before I get into the chaos, there's something you need to understand. I wasn't a problem kid. Not even close. I wasn't perfect, of course, but I respected my dad, I listened, I stayed out of trouble, and I adored my mom. She was everything to me, warm, soft, funny, always smelling like vanilla and fabric softener. She was the kind of mom who remembered every little detail about you, even things you didn't remember about yourself. And then cancer took her. I was 12. She was 37. And my world ended quietly in a hospital room that still smells like antiseptic whenever I think about it. Dad changed after that. Not overnight, not dramatically, but slowly, like someone fading away from the world piece by piece. He stopped cooking. He stopped laughing. He stopped going to my soccer games. The house felt emptier than ever, like it had been drained of its color. I tried to be strong for him. He tried to be strong for me. But we were both drowning in our own ways. For almost 2 years it was just us. A father trying to forget, a son trying to remember. When Melissa entered the picture, Dad met Melissa at work. He didn't say much about her at first, just small comments dropped here and there. She's organized. She's easy to talk to. She understands what it's like to lose someone. I didn't read too much into it. I didn't think he'd ever date again. I didn't think he wanted to. Then one night, out of nowhere, he sat me down at the dinner table and told me, "Son, I've met someone." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. I swear the whole room went silent. He talked about her like she was some kind of miracle, beautiful, kind, comforting, gentle. Someone who made him feel alive again. Someone who made things feel easier. I wanted to be happy for him. I really did. But all I felt was a cold, heavy sting in my chest. Like someone was trying to pull my mom out of our family photo and paste someone else in her place. I asked him a few questions. Normal ones. What's she like? When will I meet her? Do you really think you're ready? He brushed everything aside with a smile I hadn't seen since Mom died. I just want you to be open-minded, he said. She's not replacing your mother. Nothing could ever replace her. Looking back, that was the first lie. The first meeting. Melissa arrived at our house one Saturday afternoon in late spring. I still remember the weather, warm, breezy, sunlight glowing through the curtains. Felt like the kind of day Mom used to love. Melissa walked in wearing a perfect pastel dress, soft curls, delicate makeup, and a smile that could have been printed from a magazine cover. She looked like the kind of woman you'd see in a commercial for laundry detergent. Gentle, patient, impossibly calm. She hugged my dad. She gave me a polite smile. And for a moment, I wanted to believe she was good. But then she spoke. "Oh, sweetie," she said, tilting her head at me. "You're even more adorable than your dad described." Sweetie. She called me sweetie. No one but my mom ever called me that. Not even my dad. It hit me like an electric shock. Not painful but intrusive. Like someone touching something precious that didn't belong to them. Dad didn't notice. Melissa didn't stop smiling. And I didn't say what I wanted to say. The rest of the day was fine. She was polite, overly polite, like she was trying to win a prize for Best New Stepmom Candidate. She brought cookies she claimed to have baked herself, but I saw the store label in her car. Complimented everything in the house. Complimented my dad, complimented me. Too much. Everything felt like an audition. And I wasn't the judge she wanted approval from. She already had my dad. She wanted me. That's when the shifting began, the slow invasion. Within 2 months, Melissa was around constantly. Dinners, weekends, random drop-ins, family outings Dad never used to suggest before. She started leaving little things around the house. A hairbrush in the bathroom. A sweater draped on the couch. A bottle of perfume on my mom's vanity. That one hurt the most. My mom's vanity was the one thing I always kept untouched. It still smelled like her. It still held her old lipstick and earrings and a tiny heart-shaped mirror she loved. One day, Melissa opened the perfume bottle and said, "This scent is so light and feminine. Your mom must have had great taste." I snapped. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I know my voice cracked and my throat burned. I told her not to touch my mom's things, not to put anything of hers there, not to act like she had any right. Melissa's eyes watered instantly. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, voice trembling. "I didn't mean to upset you." Dad walked into the room at the worst possible moment, saw her upset, saw my expression, saw the vanity, and assumed I was overreacting. Again, he took her side. Again, he lectured me about respect. Again, Melissa sniffled, dabbed her tears, and told him it wasn't my fault. That was the moment I realized how dangerous she was. She knew exactly what she was doing. A villain who cries pretty. The wedding, the real breaking point. Dad proposed after 9 months. 9. I didn't want to go to the wedding. I didn't want to dress up. I didn't want to pretend. But Dad begged. He told me it meant everything to him. He told me Mom would want him to be happy. He said the one sentence that shattered something inside me. "You need to move on too." Move on. Move on from my mother? Melissa didn't say a word, but her eyes behind him told me everything. She was winning. The wedding was small, soft colors, pastel decorations, classical music. Melissa looked like she'd stepped out of a bridal magazine. Dad looked relieved, like someone had handed him a new life. And me? I felt like a background character at my own father's funeral, the funeral of the man he used to be. After the ceremony, Melissa came up to me, held my shoulders gently, and whispered, "Thank you for being here. We're a family now, sweetie." Sweetie again. That word felt like a knife. I forced a smile. I swallowed the bitterness. But deep down I knew this wasn't just a new chapter. This was an invasion. When she moved in, the real battle started. As soon as Melissa officially moved in, the rules changed. Not immediately, not obviously. Quietly. Subtly. She rearranged the furniture. For better flow. She changed the curtains. The old ones felt depressing. She redecorated the kitchen. I need things in my own way. But the worst thing she changed? My room. One morning I came home from school and found her inside, reorganizing my dresser drawers. My clothes. My private stuff. My room. "Oh, I didn't think you'd mind," she said in her sugary voice. "I'm just helping keep things tidy." I lost it. I told her to get out, to stop touching my things, to leave my room alone. She cried again. Dad defended her again. I became the disrespectful one again. But things got worse. Much worse. Because Melissa didn't just want space in the house. She wanted space in my father's heart. Space that belonged to my mother. And she was willing to push me out to make room. The replacement phase. Things didn't fall apart overnight. They never do. People like Melissa don't destroy you by kicking the front door open. They walk in slowly, quietly, smiling the entire time. And start rearranging your life one tiny piece at a time until nothing feels like yours anymore. The real shift happened 3 weeks after she moved in. It was a Sunday morning. The kind of quiet morning where the sun peeks through the blinds and everything feels soft. It should have been peaceful, but my peace had become a foreign language in my own house. I walked into the kitchen to grab cereal, but the cereal cabinet was gone. Actually not gone, rearranged. Every shelf, every drawer, every cabinet, all switched around. I stood there staring at the empty spot where the cereal used to be. Like maybe it would magically appear if I thought hard enough. She walked in behind me, humming like she lived in a Pinterest video. "Oh honey, I reorganized everything," she said with a bright smile. "Much more logical this way." Logical for who? Kept it in. I didn't want another argument. I just quietly opened cabinets until I found what I needed. But then she said something that set the tone for everything that came later. "You know," she began softly, "your mom wasn't really the tidy type, was she? I mean, I found so many things in odd places. But don't worry, sweetie. I'll fix all that." My blood turned to fire. She said it so innocently, so casually, as if she wasn't insulting a dead woman who couldn't defend herself. My mom wasn't messy, I said sharply. She just kept things where she liked them. Her smile froze for a moment, just a second, then snapped back perfectly. Oh, sweetie, I didn't mean anything bad. You're being sensitive. Sensitive. There it was. Her favorite word. The one she used every time she wanted to make me doubt myself. Dad walked in minutes later, kissed her cheek, hugged her from behind, completely oblivious to the tension suffocating the room. And Melissa, well, she slipped into character effortlessly. She leaned into him and said, "Your son's upset with me. I think I messed up organizing the kitchen." Dad sighed. "Son, be patient. She's trying." I wanted to scream. But what's the point of screaming when everyone thinks you're the problem? The diary incident. I used to keep a journal. Not a daily one, just a notebook where I wrote things when I felt overwhelmed. After Mom died, that notebook became my therapy. One day Melissa found it. I don't know what hurts more. That she opened it, or that she pretended she didn't. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. I walked into my room and saw it lying open on my desk, something I would never do. I always kept it buried in a drawer. My stomach dropped. I felt violated. Exposed. Naked. I flipped through a few pages. She'd seen everything. My grief. My rage. My loneliness. My fears. My anger toward her. When I confronted her, she didn't even pretend to be sorry. "Oh, sweetie," she said gently, placing a hand on my shoulder. I was cleaning and it just fell open. I couldn't help reading a few lines. A few lines. I snapped. "You read everything." She didn't deny it. Instead, she looked at me with soft, pitying eyes, the kind that break you more because they pretend to care. "You're hurting," she whispered. "I understand. Losing your mom. It must have been unimaginably painful." I swallowed hard. Her saying my mom's name felt wrong. Like profanity. Then she added, with a quiet little smile, "But sweetheart, writing such negative things about me. That's not healthy. I'm here to help you heal." Heal. She was the wound. Dad came home later, and of course Melissa told him everything, but twisted. She left out the part where she violated my privacy. She only told him I wrote hateful things about her. Dad didn't even ask me for my side. He just said, "Son, she's part of this family. You need to accept her." Melissa stood behind him, eyes glistening, wearing that fragile smile. And I stood there feeling like an alien in my own home. The dinner table manipulation. One thing about Melissa, she was strategic. Calculated. Every move was planned. Dinner became her stage. Every night she'd make a new dish, place it in front of Dad, and wait for praise like a contestant on some cooking show. Dad always complied. "This is delicious, Mel. I've never tasted anything like this. You're amazing." And every time he complimented her, she'd glance at me, a tiny glance, to check whether I was watching. She wanted me to feel replaced. She wanted me to see how happy she made him. She wanted me to understand that I no longer mattered as much. One night, she placed a plate in front of me and said softly, "Sweetie, I made this special for you. I know your mom used to cook something similar. Tell me how close I got." I felt sick. Physically sick. She wanted that comparison. She wanted praise that belonged to my mom. I pushed the plate away. "I'm not hungry." Dad slammed his fork down. "Stop being rude. She's trying to bond with you." Melissa dropped her gaze, blinking rapidly like she was holding back tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have tried." And just like that, I became the villain. Again. I went to bed hungry. But hunger was easier than swallowing the idea that Dad couldn't see what she was doing. The mother slip. One morning I overheard something that shook me to the core. Melissa was on the phone with someone, her sister I think, standing near the stairs. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. But when someone says your name, you naturally pause. "Yes, he's adjusting," Melissa said in her gentle voice. "It's hard for him, but soon he'll understand I'm his mother now." My heart stopped. Mother. Mother. No. No, no, no. You don't get to replace that word. You don't get to take that word. Not after everything. Not after my real mother was buried in the ground while I clutched her sweater and cried until my eyes burned. Melissa turned and saw me standing there. She froze. I froze. Then she said, with the fakest soft smile I've ever seen, "Oh, sweetie, it's not what it sounded like." But it was exactly what it sounded like. I walked away without saying a word. And that silence scared her. Because silence meant I was no longer falling for her act. The photo frame fight. The breaking point came when she removed my mom's photo from the living room. It was a picture of my parents holding me as a baby. Dad smiling, Mom glowing, the three of us looking like a real family. That photo had sat on the mantle my entire life. One day it was gone. I found it in a drawer. Face down. I confronted her immediately. "Where's the photo?" "Oh, I put it away," she said casually. The frame wasn't matching the new theme I'm going for. Theme? That's my mom," I said, shaking. She shrugged. "Well, she's still in your room, sweetie. But the living room should feel fresh. Fresh. Like my mom was an old smell that needed to be removed." I snapped harder than I ever had. "Put the photo back." She blinked. "That's not your decision. It's my mom. And I'm your mother now," she whispered. Those words. Everything inside me cracked open. Dad walked in right then, again at the wrong moment, and saw me shouting. Saw Melissa trembling. Saw the photo frame on the table. "What is going on?" Melissa rushed to him, grabbing his arm. "I just wanted to decorate. I didn't think he'd be so attached. I'm really trying, but he hates me." She buried her face in his chest. Dad glared at me like I'd spit in his face. "Apologize. Now." I stared at him. At the man who used to defend me. At the man who used to protect me. At the man who used to call me his entire world. "No," I said. It was the first time I'd ever said that to him. And it changed everything. Dad stepped back like I'd slapped him. "Then get out of my sight," he said in a cold, shaking voice. "I can't even look at you right now." Melissa hid her smirk behind his shoulder. And I walked away with my heart tearing itself in half. I've replayed that night in my head 1,000 times. The night everything exploded. The night truth stopped hiding. The night Melissa finally showed the monster beneath her perfect voice, perfect curls, perfect smile. And the night my dad finally saw what I had been screaming silently for 2 years. But before I get to that moment, the breaking, the reveal, I need to explain what led me there. Because endings don't just happen. They build like storms, slowly, layer by layer, until the sky can't hold it anymore. And that's exactly what happened to us. The silent war. After the photo frame fight, something changed. In the house. In Melissa. In me. She had won my dad. She had won the house. But she still hadn't won me. And people like her? They can't stand losing even one person. So she turned the war silent. Little things disappeared from my room: shirts, books, my soccer medal. My laundry came back, accidentally shrunk. My school lunches were forgotten. My dad started hearing stories about how uncooperative and hostile I was. But I stayed quiet. I didn't give her reactions anymore. And that scared her more than my anger ever did. Because now she couldn't control me using guilt or tears. So she switched her strategy. The father-son collapse. Dad and I became strangers. He stopped asking about my day. He stopped sitting with me at dinner. He stopped knocking before entering my room. Everything became filtered through her. Melissa said you didn't do your chores. Melissa told me you rolled your eyes at her. Melissa said you're ignoring her. Melissa is trying to be a mother to you. Why are you making this so hard? She painted me as the villain so well that even I started doubting myself. Maybe I was difficult. Maybe I was bitter. Maybe grief had twisted me. But then I'd look at the empty space where my mom's picture used to be and remember. No, she was the one destroying us. Dad couldn't see it. He didn't want to. But the universe has a funny way of forcing truth into the light. Where things stand now. Melissa tried contacting my dad 50 times. He blocked her. She tried messaging me. I blocked her. She even tried posting lies online. We posted the evidence. She deleted everything. My dad and I go to therapy now. Together. Separately. We're healing. Slowly. But truly. The house feels lighter. Colors feel brighter. Food tastes like food again. Sunlight feels warm again. And every morning, when I pass the living room and see my mom's photo sitting proudly where it belongs, I whisper, "We're okay now, Mom. I promise." Was I the problem? No. I was a kid grieving his mother, a kid trying to protect her memory, a kid fighting a silent war no one believed in. And now? Now I tell this story so nobody else doubting themselves has to feel alone. Because sometimes the villain isn't loud. Sometimes she whispers, smiles, cooks, acts fragile, and manipulates behind closed doors. But villains always get exposed. Eventually. And when they do, the truth doesn't just set you free, brings your family back.